At 55, Richard Rawlings' life has taken a devastating turn. From roaring engines and fame to struggles that shook him to the core, his story is beyond heartbreaking. So what's really happening with him? You won't believe what happened. The spiral unraveled. Richard Rawlings is a man most people remember for his passion for fast cars, loud engines, and the wild energy of Fast and Loud. But behind the TV fame and the shiny Gas Monkey brand, Richard has lived through a long list of painful setbacks. His story in the last few years has been far from glamorous. In fact, it's been one of the hardest periods of his life. For a long time, Richard seemed unstoppable. He wasn't just running a garage, he was building an empire. His restaurants, music venues, car shows, and clothing lines were everywhere. Fans filled his events. The cameras followed his every move, and Gas Monkey became one of the most recognizable car brands in the world. But success doesn't stay forever, and when they started to fall apart, they fell apart fast. One of the first big blows came from his entertainment businesses. Gas Monkey Live, a huge music venue he had high hopes for, shut down for good in 2020. It was a place he believed in, a place he thought would grow into something massive. Instead, the doors closed, leaving Richard with a painful reminder that even big dreams can collapse with no warning. Not long after, he lost his stake in the original Gas Monkey Bar and Grill. This was one of his most public businesses, a place that carried his name and identity. But by 2021, the venue had been taken over and quickly rebranded by new owners. Just like that, the Gas Monkey name was removed. A piece of Richard's legacy disappeared overnight. Fans began to whisper about financial troubles. Reports surfaced about failed deals, closed venues, and shrinking profits. People who once saw Richard as the king of car reality TV were suddenly questioning how much of his empire was real and how much had already vanished behind the scenes. But maybe the toughest loss of all wasn't about money. It was about a friendship and partnership that defined the early years of Fast and Loud, his relationship with Aaron Kaufman. Aaron wasn't just a mechanic on the show, he was the heart of the garage. His builds, his ideas, and his calm personality balanced Richard's fast-talking, deal-making style. Together, they created the energy that made the show a hit. Yet behind the cameras, the partnership was slowly cracking. Aaron loved complicated, creative builds, cars that took time, patience, and real craftsmanship. The show, however, demanded speed, fast turnarounds, bigger deadlines, and dramatic moments for TV. That pressure wore him down. The turning point came during a drag race challenge. Richard wanted a car built with upgraded parts to make sure they won. Aaron followed the instructions, but the crowd saw it as unfair. Fans were angry. The backlash was heavy, and Aaron felt trapped between what he believed in and what the show demanded. After that, something changed in him. He began to distance himself, and by December 2016, Aaron announced he was leaving for good. He wasn't angry at Richard as a person, he was simply on a different path. He wanted to follow his own vision, build the kinds of cars he believed in, and start something new. He eventually launched ArcLight Fabrications and starred in his own show where he finally had the freedom he always wanted. Still, Aaron's exit left a deep mark on Richard. Fans felt the magic of the show fade. The chemistry was gone. And slowly, the series that once dominated car TV started losing its fire. By 2020, Fast and Loud was essentially over. The shop got quieter, the cameras stopped rolling, and Richard stepped back from the spotlight that had once made him famous. Then came another hit in 2024, a massive $6 million defamation lawsuit from the Gas Monkey Bar. For a man already dealing with public pressure, business failures, and a fading empire, this lawsuit pushed his reputation even lower. It made it feel like Richard was being hit from all sides, money problems on one side, legal trouble on the other. But that raises another question. Did he also struggle in his personal life? And what were his relationships like behind the scenes? The storm. Within. After everything Richard Rawlings went through in his business life, the failed venues, the lawsuits, the end of Fast and Loud, and the slow fading of the gas monkey empire, you might hope that his personal life was a place where he found peace. But his journey at home has been just as complicated, emotional, and painful as the struggles he faced in his career. Richard's personal story begins long before his fame. In 1993, he married his first wife, Karen K. Grimes. It was a short-lived marriage, lasting barely a year. They were young, life was moving fast, and Richard was still trying to find his purpose. By the next year, they divorced quietly, and he moved forward, chasing the next big idea. It was a small chapter, but it showed early signs of the turbulence that would follow him for years. The relationship that shaped Richard's private life the most was the one with Suzanne Marie Mergele. Their story began in the late 1990s when Richard was still grinding day and night to keep his printing business alive. He had dreams of opening a garage, building custom cars, maybe even getting on TV someday, but none of it was certain yet. Suzanne stood beside him through those early struggles. She supported him through financial stress, long work hours, and the kind of uncertainty that can break couples apart. They married in 1999, and for a while, they tried to build a future together. But as Richard's dream got bigger, so did the pressure. Gas Monkey Garage was born Fast and Loud, started filming. Suddenly, Richard wasn't just a businessman, he was a TV personality, a brand, a public figure. The life he once shared with Suzanne changed overnight. The cameras followed him everywhere. The garage was always buzzing. The world wanted his time and attention. And slowly, the distance between them grew. After 10 years of marriage, they divorced in 2009. It was painful, but it felt like the only option at the time. Richard was becoming the face of one of the biggest car shows in the world, and Suzanne was left trying to keep up with a life that rarely slowed down. But their story wasn't finished. In 2015, during a trip to Cabo San Lucas, something unexpected happened. Old feelings resurfaced. They talked, they laughed, they remembered the early days before fame took over everything. And they made a bold choice. They remarried. For a while, it looked like a fairy tale comeback. Fast and Loud was global. The Gas Monkey brand was everywhere. Richard was living the dream, and Suzanne was by his side again. But just like before, success came with a cost. The travel, the deadlines, the non-stop pressure, it all returned, and it all wore on their marriage for a second time. In 2019, Richard announced publicly that they were separating again. He said it was mutual, and it was clear they had tried their best. But sometimes, love just can't survive the weight of a lifestyle built around constant motion. Their divorce was finalized in May. With no children together, the process was simple on paper, but emotionally, it was another heavy loss for Richard. He paid a one-time settlement of $300,000, closing the chapter for good. After going through 2 divorces with the same woman and spending 20 years under the weight of fame and pressure, Richard had to start over, not only in business, but in his personal life as well. But how much of his life has he truly rebuilt? Where he stands today. After years of setbacks, heartbreak, and public scrutiny, Richard Rawlings is slowly finding a new rhythm in life. The empire he once saw crumble is being rebuilt in ways that blend his love of cars, entertainment, and community. These days, Richard is focused on keeping the Gas Monkey brand alive, but in smarter, more sustainable ways. One of his newest ventures is the Gas Monkey Ice House, which opened on May 2025 in the Colony, Texas. It's a massive venue designed for car and bike enthusiasts. Inside, there's food, live entertainment, and space for classic cars to be admired. Outside, motorbikes and cars gather, creating a sense of community Richard has always cherished. It's more than a business, it's a culture hub, a place where people who love engines, speed, and adrenaline can connect. Earlier in 2024, he opened a new Gas Monkey bar and grill in Sturgis, South Dakota. The aim was clear: to revive the spirit of the original Gas Monkey bar and grill while giving fans a new destination that celebrates the culture of cars and music. Both venues show that Richard hasn't lost his entrepreneurial drive, even if the fame and chaos of reality TV are behind him. Meanwhile, Gas Monkey Garage continues to operate, but with a modern twist. While the garage still restores and sells classic cars, much of the work now appears online, primarily through their YouTube channel. Fans can follow the journey of finding, buying, and restoring vehicles, watching high-quality builds come together in real time. This digital approach keeps the garage relevant, reaches new audiences, and allows Richard to stay connected with car enthusiasts without the constant pressure of a reality show. Richard has also expanded into other ventures, including Gas Monkey Buys, a service offering instant cash for vehicles, advertised online and through social media. It's a natural extension of his automotive expertise, allowing him to continue working in the car market while diversifying his business. He's also maintained a connection to racing, partnering with FHO Racing for the Isle of Man TT races, keeping his love of speed and competition alive. Beyond business, Richard has focused on giving back. Through the Gas Monkey Foundation, he supports families affected by Alzheimer's, first responders, and veterans. While he may have faced personal and professional hardships, these charitable efforts show a softer, more grounded side, a side that values community and helping others. And then there's his personal life, which has found stability and happiness after years of ups and downs. After 2 divorces and a complicated relationship with fame, Richard found love with Katerina Deason, the ex-wife of Texas billionaire Darwin Deason. Their romance was passionate and fast-moving. By August 2019, almost immediately after his divorce, Richard proposed in Mexico, and they married in June 2020 in a quiet Key West ceremony. Today, they share their adventures openly on social media, celebrating life together while supporting each other's endeavors. Despite every business failure, lawsuit, and ended partnership, one thing hasn't changed. Richard Rawlings keeps living life to the fullest. While he's learned to slow down and take some things more carefully, his passion for fast cars, high-energy events, and new challenges hasn't faded. He keeps rebuilding, trying new things, and finding happiness both on and off camera. And while this is the man he has become today, let's take a step back to see where it all started and how he grew into the person he is now. The King of Cars, Richard Rawlings, born on March 30, 1969, in Fort Worth, Texas, was never a quiet child. From the very beginning, he had a restless energy and a fascination with anything that moved fast and roared louder than reason. While other kids were playing with toys or watching cartoons, Richard was drawn to cars, the broken, the rusted, the forgotten frames left to rot in junkyards. He didn't just see scrap metal, he saw potential, stories waiting to be told, machines waiting for life. His father wasn't a professional mechanic, but he loved cars, and he had enough tools in the garage to spark an obsession in young Richard. He would follow his dad around, asking questions, holding flashlights, watching as engines came apart and were rebuilt. Every nut, bolt, and spark of the engine fascinated him. By the age of 14, Richard had bought his first car, a piece of metal that most people would have ignored. Over the next several years, he taught himself to rebuild, tinker, and create. He collected scraps from trash piles, old bikes, broken lawnmowers, anything with wheels or a motor, and assembled them into moving machines. They didn't look pretty, but they worked, and to Richard, that was everything. High school at Eastern Hills was another playground for his imagination. He wasn't interested in textbooks or following the safe, expected path. His mind was always on speed, invention, and creation. Even before he could drive legally, he was already buying and selling cars, learning how to hustle, negotiate, and turn a profit. Those teenage years laid the foundation for a lifetime of ambition, risk, and ingenuity. After graduation, Richard tried many paths. He worked as a firefighter, a police officer, and a paramedic. Each role brought lessons, discipline, and new experiences, but none of them fit quite right. The only place he ever truly felt alive was under the hood of a car, surrounded by grease, engines, and possibilities. He knew he wanted something bigger, louder, something that would let him pour every ounce of his energy and creativity into machines that could excite and inspire. By 1909, Richard founded Lincoln Press, a printing and advertising company, proving that his ambition went beyond engines. It extended to business and branding too. Running Lincoln Press taught him how to manage a company and build a name for himself. When he sold it for a profit, he finally had the funds to chase his real dream, creating a garage that didn't just fix cars, but celebrated them. That dream became Gas Monkey Garage, a place fueled by hard work, passion, and the unstoppable drive of a Texas kid who refused to quit. From the very beginning, Richard was ready to face any challenge. But was he truly ready for the struggles that come with building something you love? An empire built on Greta. In 2002, Richard Rawlings took a leap that would change the course of his life forever. He launched Gas Monkey Garage in Dallas, Texas, a shop dedicated to customizing classic and hot rod automobiles for enthusiasts around the world. From the very beginning, Gas Monkey Garage was about more than just repairs. Richard wanted to create hot rods that could be driven hard, machines that blended old-school charm with modern performance. Long before television cameras documented the work, the garage was producing incredible builds that would later become the foundation of its fame. One of the early standout projects was a 1931 Model A. This wasn't just a cosmetic restoration. The team rebuilt the engine, upgraded the brakes and steering, and completely overhauled the interior. The result was a car that looked timeless but could perform like a modern machine, a true labor of love. Another notable project was a 1959 Rambler station wagon, transformed into a hot rod with a Southern California surfer vibe. The goal wasn't just to make it visually appealing, it had to embody freedom, fun, and a youthful energy. Every build at Gas Monkey Garage reflected this philosophy: respect for the classics, creativity in the upgrades, and the drive to make every car ready to hit the road, not just sit in a showroom. Even before television came calling, Gas Monkey Garage was carving out a reputation among car enthusiasts. Richard's approach to building was hands-on and fearless. The team often blended original parts with new technology, taking risks, experimenting with design, and embracing challenges most mechanics wouldn't dare touch. It was this mix of authenticity, creativity, and boldness that would later define the personality of the garage on screen. Gas Monkey Garage didn't just stay in the workshop. In May 2007, Richard Rawlings and his co-pilot Dennis Collins made headlines with a daring attempt at the Cannonball Run, a legendary coast-to-coast race from New York City to Los Angeles. The 1979 record of 32 hours and 51 minutes had stood for decades, and the pair was determined to beat it. They entered the race with a modified Ferrari 550, outfitted with extra fuel cells to keep them running at top speed for the entire journey. The result? They reportedly completed the run in 31 hours and 59 minutes, officially breaking the old record. But the feat has been debated among fans and historians. Questions about routes, timing, and accuracy still linger. Many argue that other teams didn't follow the original rules of the 1970s cannonball runs, while Richard and Dennis adhered to their own precise plan, leaving a mark as one of the few teams to challenge history on their terms. Regardless of the debate, the attempt cemented Gas Monkey Garage's reputation for audacity and ambition, willing to push limits both in the shop and on the open road. By the time television discovered Gas Monkey Garage, Richard had already created a solid foundation. The garage wasn't just about building cars, it was about a lifestyle, a culture, and a fearless pursuit of speed, creativity, and performance. Each build told a story, each engine roar reflected Richard's vision, and each car that rolled out of the shop carried the unmistakable mark of Gas Monkey Garage. Bold, loud, and unapologetically alive. Gas Monkey Garage eventually became the heart of Fast and Loud, but its story started long before reality TV. The show, which aired on the Discovery Channel, followed Richard Rawlings and his team in Dallas, Texas, as they hunted for worn-out cars and restored them to sell for profit. The first season was a hit, and the success led to spin-offs like Misfit Garage and Fast and Loud, Demolition Theater, where Richard, his crew, and the car owners watched clips and shared their reactions. Richard, along with former GMG mechanic Aaron Kaufman, also took part in a motorcycle build-off against established builders like Orange County Choppers, Paul Jr. Designs, and Jesse James. They finished second to Paul Jr., with James coming in third. The show was produced by Pilgrim Studios, with Craig Peligian and Eddie Rohwetter serving as executive producers. The show ran for many seasons, with its final season premiering on March 30, 2020. On December 15, 2020, during an episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, Richard confirmed that the series had officially come to an end. Since leaving TV, Richard Rawlings lives quietly yet passionately, still driven and adventurous, trading fame and crowds for a slower, more personal, fulfilling life.